So yesterday I gave myself a crash course in computer hardware, not software, hardware. It's something I've never really looked into, never thought a lot about. I've just been interested in learning to code and building stuff, but it looks like I might be getting into Java development soon for my job and dealing with databases and just more stuff. And some of my coworkers were teasing me that my computer is not powerful enough to handle Java development and the tasks it requires. They started throwing out this terminology like I can't even repeat it because I don't know what they said, but they were like joking and laughing about it, and I was just like, ha, yeah, no idea what he's talking about. Gotta look it up. So I looked it up. Crash course. Basically, I'm gonna kind of break down what I learned yesterday in very, very simple terms. And the first thing I do, of course, is find out about my own computer. I do about this Mac. It's 13-inch MacBook Pro 2018, blah, 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 processor, 2.3 gigahertz quad core Intel Core i5. Yeah, what does that mean? Memory, 8 gigabytes, and blah, 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 whatever that means. Graphics, blah, 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 and serial number. Okay, a bunch of information, and I don't know what it is. So I've heard about the gigabytes thing, 8 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes, 32 gigabytes. What's the difference? What does this gigabytes even mean? It's not the hard drive, because the hard drive can hold a lot more than 8 gigabytes. It's something else. It's RAM, whatever that is. So here's the best explanation that I can come up with for all of these things. So the most important things are in these two lines right here, processor and memory. Processor is processing tasks. You give your computer tasks to do. The core, quad core, that means there's 4 cores. What is a core? It's like the computer's brain. So this computer has 4 brains, and each brain can handle 1 task at a time. So having 4 brains is great because you can do 4 tasks at a time. And then there's processing speed, 2.3 gigahertz. So the higher that number is, the faster each brain can process the task. So it's kind of a question like, would you rather have 4 brains that process more slowly or 1 brain that processes really quickly? So you can only handle 1 task at a time, but you go through them really fast, versus 4 tasks at a time, but it might go a little bit slower. Now, I said each brain core can only handle 1 task at a time, but this i5 number, like if it was i7 or i9, you could do hyper-threading, I think it's called, which means you can handle more than 1 task at a time. A multitasking brain, which actually humans can't do. Well, actually, I suppose you can, not consciously, but your brain's controlling all your involuntary stuff as well. Like you can do math and breathe and beat your heart at the same time, right? That your brain's doing all of it. Anyway, side note, not to get sidetracked. So this one can't multitask, but it does have 4 brains. That's nice. And this looks like medium fast. Now, in terms of memory, here's RAM. What is RAM? Well, if the core is a brain and it's going through these tasks at a certain speed, right? The RAM is basically the short-term memory of the brain. Hard drive is like the long-term memory, like it gets stored and it's there. But the short-term memory is basically where that data is stored while it's being processed. So if you are doing a very large process, like you do video editing and you're trying to export a video, that process, it's a very long process and it's a very large process. Like you need a lot of memory to store a bigger short-term memory to store that video as it's being processed. If you're doing video editing and gaming and all these things that take a lot of memory, a lot of processing, a long time, it's very highly recommended to have a lot of RAM, multi-threading, the whole shebang. The more power, the better. So the question is, why wouldn't you just go all in? Why wouldn't you go for 64 gigabytes and 5 gigahertz and 6 cores and i9? Well, all those things take a lot of power. And if you're working on a laptop, it would drain the battery very quickly and it would get overheated. Desktops are bigger. They're not battery operated either. You plug them in, so that's not a problem. And they're bigger, so there's more space and the cooling can work more efficiently. But of all the forums I've looked at and my own experience as well, pretty unanimously, developers want a laptop. Why? It's our life, it's our livelihood. We want the flexibility. I want to be able to work in the kitchen or work on the sofa or work in my bedroom or at my desk. I want to take it on vacation. I want to take it to the coffee shop. I want to just be able to code anywhere I want, in any position I want, anytime I want. I have my screens on my desk, but I've got my computer with me at my side. I need a little laptop holster. Whoosh, whip it out, do some coding. Whoosh. Draw. So developers want all this power, but they also want the flexibility of having a laptop. How much power do you need? It depends on what you're doing. So for me, doing mobile development, sometimes I have several things going on at the same time. I have my code editor, I have my React Native debugger, I've got my iOS simulator, I've got my Android emulator, I've got my browser open with several tabs, just lots of stuff happening at the same time. And that's where like having the quad core is nice. Having many brains to do many things is nice, even if each of the tasks is a little slower. It's worth the sacrifice to be able to do many things. Basically, all the forums I've looked at, my computer's just fine. It's okay. This computer was definitely an upgrade from my previous one, which was a MacBook Air. I think it was like 1 point something gigahertz, and it was, I think it was still 8 gigabytes, but it was slow. It couldn't handle the emulator, simulator, all the mobile development stuff I did. Painfully slow and crashing too. Yep. So this one's definitely improvement. I have a 13-inch screen. A 16-inch screen would be great. Like I see my husband's laptop he has for work, and it's a 16-inch screen, and it just gets me dreaming. Just wow, what a nice screen. There's a newer, fancier MacBook Pro out that it's a 16-inch screen, 16 gigabytes, i9, and if I'm using my laptop and I'm developing and things are just painfully slow and I can't go anywhere, or it crashes or different things like that, I will upgrade. I will. Because it's my livelihood. I need my laptop. I need my computer to work and work well. But I don't think I've gotten to that point yet. So that was my summary of my crash course on computer hardware. Hope it was helpful to someone out there. Just keep learning.